Hey, happy day. So today's message is about benevolence versus malevolence. So, um, benevolence is usually enacted by empaths, and an empath is someone who is a healer who absorbs the emotions of others in a benevolent, loving way. And the definition of benevolent means goodwill, essentially, and other synonyms are well meaning, kindness, a disposition, so positioned to do good, charitableness, helpful. Um, it's about benefaction and compassion, and therefore uh, being able to sense and harness an empathetic state. Um, and it's the next part of the message has to do with the closer you are to someone, the more you can hurt them. And uh, the what came into my frame of reference, so you get the empath, and then you get the opposites of that. So you would get the narcissist and the psychopathic tendencies, behavioral tendencies, sociopath, psychopath, etc. um, and narcissism is the other one. And what came into my frame of reference recently was the concept of the dark empath. So that is someone who um, they understand your you on an from an empathetic level, meaning they're able to understand what you're telling them, what you're feeling. However, they do not harness or embrace um, that sense, and instead they use your weakness, your vulnerability against you, or they use it as a manipulative force for their own selfish motives. And it's a combination. It's from the combination of what's called the dark triad, which are those three things I mentioned: the psychopathy, the narcissism, and the Machiavellian. I didn't mention the Machiavellian. So it's a combination of those three. And it's very dangerous and very toxic relationship to have. One of the most toxic, a very harmful. Uh, and what it says is, um, what they make you question is, who am I? Because they say, don't you know who I am? And they, oh, sorry, there's a book written by a fellow called, or someone, a doctor, I don't know if it's a fellow, Romani Durvusalu, and it's called Don't You Know Who I Am? How to Stay Sane in an Era of Narcissism, Entitlement, and incivility. And that's a deep spiritual issue I've been working with for the past while. Because of the area I find myself in, I find there's a great lack of benevolence. In fact, there's a lot of malevolence, which is actually ill will. It, it talks about harm to others, it's vindictive, it's hostility, it's being nasty, it's bitter, it's malicious, it's wicked, it's evil, it's narcissistic. And so I've been playing with or working with these energies, trying to understand them, process them, integrate them, and what I've understanding myself, and now what I'm learning. And as a Heyoka empath, actually, I'm perfectly equipped to deal with it, because what we do is we take the shit people put in front of us, and we uh, give it back to them, but transformed as manure, and ask them what they're going to do with this transformed shit that they put in front of you. We will wear fur coats on a hot day. We will ride the horse backwards. So we always do things opposite to the norm in order to be satirical. And to be satirical means to be sarcastic, which is to be humorous in a very honest way, which is actually cruel, but comedians are able to be produce satire in a healthy way, a digestible way. So there, it in Greek mythology, I thought this was important to mention to explain the concept of narcissism. And I have said before that we are all that to a degree, but what we will be aware of is currently the degrees to which we have been dealing with that. And the Greek mythology talks about where Narcissus was a very attractive hunter and much desired and admired by all those around him, and very much wanted. And for his beauty, he was known for his beauty, and he rejected most, in fact, he rejected all romantic advances, and instead one day happened to see his reflection in a pool of water, and he fell in love with that and spent the rest of his life gazing into this pool, his own reflection in this pool of water. So that is the classic Greek myth. However, when you delve a little deeper, which is what I, Nikki BM, want to do, and go down rabbit holes to really understand things in their full entirety. I'm not just about one view. I'm about changing I don't mind being challenged, because I do know who the fuck I am. I do know what I am about. I know exactly, I'm living consciously and aware, with great awareness. So people who are not often want to project their things onto me, which I take and I own, because all they're doing is reflecting an aspect of myself that I need to be more aware of. I'm not in denial of any of my aspects of being, in the way that I am a dark empath, in the way that I am a narcissist. And the truth is, in life, it's all fine and well to be goodness, light, and love. We should be aspiring to that. That is the yin energy, and then, well, it's actually the dark energy, because in wombing, but the then we are contrasted with the yang energy, and we are that. We are our ego and consciousness constantly in play, and nobody is perfect. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we supposed to be self-sustainable, but yet no man is an island. So we need others around us, because we cannot achieve think about self-sustainability. A plant doesn't just grow. It needs soil to grow in, it needs water to grow, it needs nutrients from the soil, it needs sun, and it can grow with just wildly like that. However, if it has a farmer tending to it and cultivating it, then it can be a very productive, functional, useful harvest. So we all need to use other people to achieve our goals. It is what it is. It's just one of those nasty things. You can go and live alone somewhere and do everything for yourself. It is possible. However, we are at heart, literally at heart, by nature social creatures, and we interacting with others, for example, in massage touch, it releases serotonin because of the feel good. It actually releases oxytocin. It releases many feel good neurotransmitter hormones. So affection, love, feeling connected to others, these are all sensations that lead to a positive physiological experience, as opposed to hostility, negativity, being attacked. I wanted to give an example of, so my experience, I've had many experiences, but the one that comes to mind now, of a dark empath, for example, or a narcissist, or, for example, a gaslighter. The would Was someone who once said to me, "Oh, gosh, you look so lovely," because I was wearing makeup and had dolled up for a rare change, and she was like, "You look so lovely. You really should let me do a makeover on you." Well, I mentioned this before. It's actually a compliment draped in an insult draped in a compliment, and I don't. I saw straight through it, and I don't appreciate that. It's very superficial, and I don't really play to skin deep. I don't care how perfect your boobs are, and how awesome your hair looks, your hairdresser got the color right, or I don't give a fuck. What I care about is who you are and how you treat people and how are you treating me. And most people are too busy worrying about how people are perceiving them through how they look, rather than actually being aware that they are perceived through their actions, through what they do, not and how they are being, not how they are looking and aesthetically pleasing to the eye. How aesthetic are you to having around in one's life? How much goodwill are you able to provide, rather than how benevolent are you versus malevolent? Um, and then, so the deeper and underbelly of the beast of this narcissist story is that the other version goes that he had a twin sister, Echo, and they were best friends and they did everything together. And then she died. And he would go to the pool of water every day to gaze at his reflection, because it was the closest he could get to seeing the person who he loved the most. And so that is the duality of that story. And there is duality in life, and there are paradoxes, and there are oppositions, which is what yin and yang is. But instead of being where they opposites oppose, it's opposites attract, because they recognize their strengths and their weaknesses play to the whole. And so it's about really being aware of whether we are being malevolent or benevolent. And the cards that came up today are, again, since we seem to be in this time of reflection, and it's the love suit, who or what we are called to love is often a reflection for what we need to develop in our own lives. And it also relates then to external relationships that are of a heart, a cup's nature. 7 talks to us about inner work. Big questions surface that seem to be without answers or resolution, which is what I mentioned in the twin flame reading that I posted today. Yes, I'm being more expressive about that, but not in the way that you expect, because why? I'm used to being under appreciated and underestimated, and therefore undervalued. So when you watch my reading, you'll see that it's different to what you've heard, and that's what I'm about, is changing the narrative and shifting perceptions and moving things from victim mode into self-accountability and ownership, because that is how you are empowered being, an empowered being. That's how you are able to operate from your most magical self. It's time to go within and re-examine what has brought you to this point and what needs to be changed. Decide what no longer serves you and what you need to let go of or bring closure to. Reflect on desires or needs that have long been suppressed. And actually that's interesting, because I've been talking today in my other videos about narcissism and this one particularly, but one of the traits of understanding if you're in a toxic relationship is whether your needs and feelings are being suppressed, if they're not being acknowledged. And then gaslighting, where it's you question your own sanity because people make you question what you are feeling. They deny what you are feeling and experiencing. They impose their own reality upon your own. Isolation too, and stonewalling are some other traits of toxic behaviours. It all came up with this dark empath theme. But now need to be realised, and again that word's been coming up a lot lately, realised. In the card it says, the quote by Rumi says, lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They are in each other all along. And then again, it's that yin yang symbol, where there's a little bit of the yin in the larger part of the yang, and there's a little bit of the yang in the larger part of the yin. And that's how the puzzle actually, it's a Chinese puzzle. It clicks together like that. One love. And then we had the Nine of Swords. And the message briefly says, don't give up now. You're almost there. As you round the corner towards success, something may surface that threatens your feelings of security and achievement. And that's what this year largely has been about. It's been about birthing more safety, security, and better foundations through making better choices, healthier choices, releasing toxicity, codependency, and things that no longer serve us. Essentially, you may even be inadvertently choosing the more difficult path. I know I do that a lot. Guilty as charged, executed, crucified, bear the cross. But now it's time for resurrection. Sometimes we become so enamored with our own stories of rising up that our own shadows become romantic notions of what we seek to defend. So the whole time I was reading all these things about narcissism and dark empath and toxic traits, behaviours, and all of that, I was thinking to myself, and abusive relationships. I think that's what it boils down to, is being aware of the abusive relationships in our lives. But then, whoa, hold on. We always bring it back to self, which is the hardest truth to face, that personal truth. We are most resistant, most resilient, most reluctant to go there. It's dark. It's the labyrinth. We have to fight the Minotaur. We know it as we're going through finding our way in the labyrinth. What we have to face there is hard, but again, we can't avoid it. We have to actually deal. Things don't go away. They just simply change. The energy changes. And are you in charge of, are you being able to influence how it changes to your benefit, or are you going to give that power away and allow others? And also it was thinking about narcissism. A lot of the stories we tell people, we need them to justify our story, to make our, so it helps us believe. When other people buy into our story, it justifies it for us. So we need to be aware of that. Where are we trying to get others to buy into our bullshit? And again, when we deal with our bullshit, we don't have to do that, and in which case life does become easier for even those around us. The affirmation for this card says, I push beyond my own perceived limitations, and I remain open and trusting as I do. And then the next card that came up was, have you noticed how much swords came up a lot this week? So wands, 10 of wands. And the 10 of wands talks to us about, have we taken on too much? Is there a way to free ourselves from heady burdens, obligations, and responsibilities? Finding ourselves close to successful outcomes. We need to maybe prioritize, but there is this message to keep going. All those responsibilities, do you really need to carry all of them, all by yourself, all at one time? Does everything have to happen now? Or maybe things could just go a whole lot faster if you enlisted some help. All you have to do is ask and you shall receive. Well, I've been asking, not sure I'm receiving, but perhaps again things will work out the way they work out. It's not, I can only do with what's in my control. Drop the non-essentials and heaviness that is weighing you down, because you are so close, but yet so burdened. And a lot of the burden is here, the mental burden. Think levity and ease. Streamlining will expedite your goals and bring relief to any overwhelm or molasses energy you are feeling. That stagnant energy, spinning wheels. Check the yang energy reading. I release my burdens into the ethers, knowing that the universe will help me to tend to the essentials. Release that ish and enjoy your last steps to the finishing line. And the last card is number 1. And number 1 talks to us about a gift or new opportunity and an exciting sense of how things could be, a wish or a dream coming true. And it's the spirit suit, which reflects our essential self, inner guide and connection with life and nature. It is us engaging with life and all its aspects to learn the lessons that will guide us on the journey. And I want to qualify always with the blessings. We recognize our blessings through gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. So thank you for listening to my long share, and I hope you feel guided. I hope you feel inspired. I hope you feel empowered. I hope that you will not only use this information to your highest good and for your highest good, but for the collective great. And I am doing a plea to buy a vehicle. I'm looking for donations. I have many ways you can support me to do so. If you don't just want to give and you want me to earn it, I have many ways to earn it. So please consider supporting one of my many channels. All the ways that you can support me are available on Instagram, link below. Namaste in Lakesh. Happy day, and thank you for the blessings and your love.